Focused, fast, accurate with Jennifer Copeland and Todd Connor. You're watching WSBT 22 News at 6.
Football season is less than 2 months away, but Notre Dame football is not the only thing coming to the stadium this year.
Yes, Garth Brooks will perform the first standalone concert. WSBT 22's Cassidy Williams is live inside Notre Dame Stadium. And Cassidy, the university trying to use the stadium more.
Just today, there was a staff picnic down on the field. A university spokesperson said that the stadium renovations completed last year make this venue much better equipped to hold big events. Those renovations included making the seats here much wider and also adding the Jumbotron. As VP of Communications Paul Brown said that when the university was considering hosting a concert, they reached out to Brooks because he says that he has a lot of the same values that the university does, and he hopes this is just the beginning.
We hope this is the first of many great musical and other events inside the stadium, so we're pumped about it here, that's for sure.
An exact date for the concert has yet to be set, but Brown says it'll be worth the wait. Coming up at 10 and 11, I'll have more on how concerts could impact the entire area. Live in Notre Dame Stadium, Cassidy Williams, WSBT 22 News.
It was a case that stunned our area. A 28-year-old pregnant mother brutally murdered in a South Bend park. Her killer never found. But St. Joseph County Metro Homicide detectives have made 2 arrests in the murder of Miriam Rice. 76-year-old George Kearney and 56-year-old Barbara Brewster were arrested and charged with her murder. WSBT 22's Jesse Schultz is at the live desk right now. Jesse, to many, this case was considered cold.
It happened in June of 1988, 30 years ago, but police say they never gave up on it, and that persistence led to some answers.
Pinhook Park in 1988 was the last place Miriam Rice was seen. She took her dog on a walk, 4 months pregnant at the time. But when she didn't return home, her husband called the police. Days later, her body was found. Rice died from blunt force trauma. For 30 years, that's all we knew. But court documents reveal horrific new details. They state the case reopened 2 years ago when George Kearney came forward, in part because Brewster's daughter sent him letters asking about his involvement in the murder.
This was very much a whodunit, very much trying to find one more piece of evidence.
Court documents reveal Kearney and Brewster were camping in Pinhook Park with Brewster's 3 young kids when they saw Rice walking her dog. According to Kearney's statement, Brewster killed Rice, but Brewster says it was Kearney. Police say Brewster's children, who were 6 and 7 at the time, made the difference in cracking the case.
Being able to find those people, being able to gain their trust so that they felt comfortable enough to be able to talk to us, to let us know what they had experienced, what they remembered.
Brewster's son, who is now 36, says Kearney hit Rice's head against their van, and then his mom, Brewster, beat her in the van. Court records say he never told anyone what happened because Kearney threatened to kill him. But the murder traumatized him his whole life. Kearney was arrested in St. Joseph County, Brewster in Alabama.
These people went to sleep every night comfortable. They ate, they drank, they slept, they had boyfriends, they had girlfriends. They enjoyed Christmas, grandkids, and all that. After 30 years, you must think that you're free, but that's not the case.
Police say they never gave up hope they'd one day make an arrest in Miriam's case.
It's just a desire to, give some closure to these families and do justice for the victims.
Court documents still didn't explain why Rice was killed. Jeff Rice, Miriam's husband at the time, released a statement after the arrest. It read, in part, for our entire family, these arrests were a long-awaited step towards justice. They thanked Metro Homicide Unit, the St. Joseph County prosecutor, and the retired police officers who kept working on Miriam's case. He said his family is forever grateful to them, and every ounce of their energy will now be dedicated to convictions. At the live desk, Jesse Schultz, WSBT 22 News.
New information on a deadly shooting from Saturday. Charges have been filed, but not in the death. Darcy Neely faces carrying a handgun without a license charge. He was driving one of the 2 cars involved in the crash on Portage Avenue. Court documents state Neely's girlfriend told Willie Williams about a domestic dispute. Neely says he and Williams got into an altercation while driving that included him shooting at Williams's car. He says Williams then hit his car, sending it onto its roof. Neely told police Williams then ran at him with metal objects, so he grabbed a gun and shot him. Witnesses told police the same thing. A new lead in the search for a murder suspect. Police in Northwest Ohio say Daniel Lynn was spotted in Van Wert at the end of last week. The 40-year-old South Bend man is accused of killing 28-year-old Christina Woods. The South Bend woman's body was found in rural northern Minnesota. Woods was reported missing back in June. Ohio police say Lynn was possibly driving an early 2000s white or off-white Ford Explorer or Mercury Mountaineer.
Well, good Monday evening. Another nice day. Blue sky, just a few fair weather cumulus clouds floating around. Here's a live look in southwest Michigan. This is South Haven, the beach there. People enjoying Lake Michigan. We'll make our way to St. Joe. The Silver Beach, same deal. Lots of people out and about. Temperatures out there certainly support swimming, right? Upper 80s, 88 in Plymouth. It's now 90 in Warsaw, and in Rochester, 86 in Benton Harbor, 88 in LaGrange, 89 in Valpo. Temperatures continue to fall back into the 70s later on this evening. There is a slight chance of a shower if we're lucky, but I don't think many, if anyone, is going to see too much out of that. We'll chat about that and temperature trends over the next several days coming up.
Matt, thank you. New details tonight concerning embattled Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill. Hill spoke to a crowd of reporters at the State House today amid groping accusations against him. Today, he defended his name and reputation after saying last week that the accusations against him are false. As we have reported, Indiana's governor and leaders from both parties say he needs to resign. WSBT 22's Caitlin Connon has been covering this developing story and from Indianapolis today.
Hill's main message, the investigation into these accusations wasn't handled properly. He says he wasn't given due process or the presumption of innocence. Some local lawmakers agree the investigation wasn't done right, but at least one says Hill should still resign.
I now stand falsely and publicly accused of abhorrent behavior. These false allegations have irretrievably damaged my reputation.
Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill says he's been convicted of inappropriate behavior without due process. Democratic Representative Ryan Dvorak says that's ridiculous.
No one is trying to criminally convict him of anything. This is simply, in my mind, a question of honor and dignity, and if he had any, he'd resign.
Dvorak says the General Assembly's investigation wasn't even really about Hill.
They hired a law firm to try to determine whether or not there was any potential liability on the legislature for providing a hostile workplace or, some sort of civil rights claim that they might have liability for.
Whether the investigation was about him or not, Hill feels the effect is the same.
I stand before you a condemned man. Condemned without trial, condemned without notice, condemned without the benefit of any basic rights that ensure fairness.
The reporters present at his news conference, myself included, had a lot of questions for Attorney General Hill. He says he won't be answering any until a proper investigation is conducted. Hill has asked the Marion County prosecutor to do that investigation. But before he ended, Hill had one last thing to say.
A week ago today, I had a name, and I want my name back.
Hill's accusers say he said inappropriate things and touched them inappropriately as well. Indiana State Rep Mara Reardon from Munster says Hill touched her backside. Hill says those accusations are false, and he made clear today he is not resigning. At the State House, Caitlin Connon, WSBT 22 News.
18 members of a local church youth group are stranded right now in Haiti. They are members of the River Oaks Community Church in Goshen. They flew to Haiti 1 week ago for a mission trip. The group is made up of 13 teenagers and 5 adult leaders. They were supposed to fly out today, but they can't safely make it to the airport because of protests and riots in Haiti. The riots are over a sharp increase in gas prices.
The kids were able to call their parents yesterday and have a short conversation with their parents. Generally in good spirits, a little homesick, but so they're definitely ready to come home, and we're ready to get them home. But where they're at right now, they're perfectly safe.
Church leaders are now making plans for them to fly back home on Thursday if the group can safely make the hour-and-a-half drive to the Port-au-Prince airport.
A decision in Washington and countered thousands of miles away is having a big impact on local farmers.
And we've got to talk about the continued stretch of dry weather. However, there's some changes coming, as always, around here. I'll have your forecast coming up next.
Now, your accurate First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Matt Rudkin.
Live look in Winona Lake, across the lake to the Kosciuszko County Fairgrounds. You can see the fair is in full swing with temperatures down that way in the upper 80s. Here's a live look in St. Joseph. Calm water overall up there, 86 degrees, dew point's 55. A nice low number for those of you along the lake. Represents real dry air. That's why the humidity levels at 35%. Just fair weather clouds. That is it today. We'll take a wider view, and you can see the reason is a big dome of high pressure. High pressure sinking air, and you get no rain with that. You get just fair weather clouds at most, and that's the theme here for now. There's a cold front that we'll go through tomorrow. It is moisture starved and it is weak, so we're not going to see much from it other than a few extra clouds, and if we're lucky, a stray shower here or there. Low 90s in our southern counties, while it's in the upper 80s for almost everywhere else in northern Indiana and southwestern lower Michigan. Dew points, again, basically in the 60s. It feels pretty comfortable. The exceptions along the lake in the 50s. That's really nice. But dew points will actually go down. This cold front, that's the one thing you'll notice is humidity drops. We should be in the lower 60s tomorrow as far as dew points, but then going back up as we head towards late week, back into the 70s as we end our work week. So here's Futurecast, trying to showcase tomorrow morning. This is 7 a.m., a spotty shower or two. The one thing, though, there's a couple things. Number one, the cold front is moisture starved. Number two, now that most of the soil is dry, at least the top level of it, you're not evaporating much moisture in the atmosphere at this point, and that will make it even harder to get it to physically rain. So if we're lucky, a stray shower or two. Better chances for rain south of US 24 in central Indiana, but that cold front goes through, switches the winds again, brings in the cooler and drier air as we head towards midweek before we warm things back up. So for tonight, temperatures about 70. If we're lucky, again, stray shower. I know we need some rain, at least most of us. 84 tomorrow, a stray shower, otherwise partly cloudy. You'll notice a few extra clouds in the afternoon. Temperatures at the fair, basically middle 80s or so. Both LaPorte and Kosciuszko County fairs. Better chances for rain, but even that's slight chance. LaPorte, I don't know if you're going to see much, if any. I think you're going to see mostly sunny skies. You're a little bit farther north, so that cold front won't have as much time to impact you. So only 20%, that's it. And then really we're going to remain dry as we head towards the next several days. You'll notice by the weekend, a couple chances for rain, but again, 30%, that's not much. And at this point, even if you saw a lot of rain this spring and early summer, you're probably needing a little bit on the top level of that soil for your grass and your gardens. I know the farmers are starting to use their irrigation equipment. If you haven't yet, certainly will in the next couple of days, because that sun takes a toll, you know, on any water that was around.
Seems like we're feast or famine. We either get too much rain or we just not enough at points.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Matt, thanks. It's not the summer heat or record rainfall that's causing problems for local farmers in and of itself, but decisions made by world leaders. That's next on WSBT 22 News at 6.
First to cover breaking news with Jennifer Copeland and Todd Connor. Your accurate First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Matt Rudkin. And sports with Pete Byrne. You're watching WSBT 22 News at 6.
Experts say the tariff battle between the U.S. and China is really starting to negatively hurt local farmers.
WSBT 22's Veronica Ortega is live in St. Joseph County. And Veronica, farmers are seeing a reduction in revenue
by nearly 50%, which means farmers will have to dramatically cut back on spending. $15 billion of the $34 billion in retaliatory tariffs imposed by China are aimed at farm products, the biggest number on soybeans. Economic experts estimated that on June 1st, farm families farming 1,000 acres of corn and 1,000 acres of soybeans would be expecting a modest return this year of about $42,000. Today, that return has dropped to minus $126,000. Harold Parker, a local farmer, says this isn't something they predicted would happen.
Decisions we made 3 months ago didn't hold water now that we've had our money dry up, so we're drying up our spending habits, which affects everybody around us, all from our suppliers to our implement people to the people we hire.
Parker says the whole situation makes everyone a little nervous, but he has hope that the government will fix things and come to an agreement with China. Live in St. Joseph County, Veronica Ortega, WSBT 22 News.
We have a traffic alert for anyone who's driving near the shopping district in Mishawaka. There are lane restrictions on Grape Road between University Drive and Indian Ridge Boulevard. Crews will be working on pavement, doing some utility repairs there as well. That work is expected to last through Wednesday. There's also work on Douglas Road this week west of Grape Road. Selge Construction has lane restrictions in the westbound lanes there. They are doing pavement patching in that area. Weather permitting, that work should be done by Wednesday. There are signs and barricades up so that they can keep the crews safe. Driving will be slower on State Road 19. Crews are milling and repaving lanes in Elkhart this week. One lane of Bristol Street, which turns into Napanee Street, will be done. And it started today east of Michigan Street, so get ready for 3-inch bumps at intersections along State Road 19 where the work is being done there.
All right, Pete joins us now with sports and has a little Cubs news.
That's right. The All-Star rosters came out yesterday, and one of the Cubs had a very emotional reaction to making it to the All-Star game. We're going to show that to you. Plus, one of the best high school soccer players in our area is enrolling in college early. Find out why next in sports.
This sports segment on WSBT 22 is sponsored by your Platinum Chevy dealers. Now, sports with Pete Byrne.
A pair of young Chicago Cubs will make their first All-Star game appearances next week. Second baseman Javi Baez and catcher Wilson Contreras were both voted as National League starters for the annual Midsummer Classic, and their responses were priceless. The Cubs released a short video on social media late last night of the moment that Baez and Contreras both learned they'd be making their All-Star game debuts. Contreras was so caught off guard, he was actually moved to tears. It was pretty cool to see. Contreras and Baez will be joined in the All-Star game by teammate John Lester, who was also named to the National League pitching roster today. Jose Abreu is the lone White Sox player on the roster. He'll be starting at first base for the American League. And another player of note, former South Bend Cub Gleyber Torres, was voted to his first All-Star game. You may recall the Cubs traded Torres to the Yankees back in 2016 in a deal that brought Aroldis Chapman to Chicago, which in turn helped the Cubs win that World Series. A surprise opportunity has one of the top athletes in the area moving on to the college level earlier than expected. Brooke Van Dyke is a two-time captain of the Penn girls soccer team and was expected to be the top player this year for the two-time defending state champs. But a conversation with new Notre Dame head coach Nate Norman led Van Dyke to realize that she could enroll early. So after careful consideration, she's decided to skip her senior year of high school and is starting her college career at Notre Dame a year ahead of schedule.
I'll obviously miss Penn and all the lessons they've taught me. They've helped me grow as a player and a person. But to me, I love new challenges, and Notre Dame was just perfect because the opportunity came up. Like, I've always been playing up with boys or with girls, and just being able to come to like the school of my dreams and to take on that new challenging, I thought it was perfect for me.
Well, NFL training camp is right around the corner. The Bears rookies report to Bourbonnais exactly 1 week from today. The full squad reports a week from this Thursday. And the Bears will be trying to prove many people wrong when they hit the field this season. Today, the website Bet Online released the first odds to make the playoffs anywhere in the world. And according to the site, the Bears have just a 17.2% chance of making the playoffs this season, and the Colts' chances not much better. This site gives Indy a 22.3% chance of making the postseason. Not surprisingly, the Patriots, they have the best odds to make the playoffs this year according to this particular site. The Eagles and Vikings have the best odds in the NFC, and the team with the worst odds of all of making the playoffs, not who I thought. I was going to go with Cleveland. It's actually the Arizona Cardinals, who are now without a veteran quarterback and have been banged up. But nonetheless, if you're the type that likes to make a wager, perhaps there's money to be made with the Colts and the Bears this year because you get some good numbers on them. Good time to remind folks that we'll be showing all but one of the Bears preseason games on Fox Michiana. And between Fox Michiana and WSBT here, we're the home for the Bears and the Colts pretty much all season long.
Yeah, perfect. All right, we'll be right back.
Some dry weather headed our way.
That's the theme. If we're lucky, a stray shower tomorrow, but I think everybody, or almost everybody, stays dry. Only 20%. Warming back up by late weekend into the weekend, back into the upper 80s. Even this weekend's rain chances slim at this point. So remaining dry for the next week or so.
Be nice to see a shower or two to cool things down.
Yeah, and
But-
just give the grass a drink. It's getting dry up there.
That too.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, thanks. Thanks for joining us tonight. Our next news is tonight at 10 on Fox Michiana. We'll be back here at 11.
Have a good night.